That, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The Declaration of Independence. Cause B. Workplace democracy. Workplace democracy is what happens when you apply democratic norms to a corporation. What we wish for specifically is for half of the shares of a company minimum to be split equally among the workers of it. This will come with the corresponding number of seats on the board of directors, elected in a one-employee, one-vote process. This section specifically deals with large businesses. Small ones are excluded. Part 1. Power to the powerless. In the modern world, we have been made to feel powerless. We stand looking up at leviathans that we are expected to give our hard work towards, yet these giants seem keen on giving the minimum amount back. The only power available to the commons is essentially where you work and what you buy. But this power is hard to use for what you wish for, creating an invincibility of the elite. We are often given only two morally bankrupt options for what to buy if we want a particular kind of product. To demonstrate this, simply pick one major corporation like Nestle and just try to avoid their products for even 1 week. Attempt to avoid supporting Amazon, which seems simple enough until you realize they own so much. Try to avoid Google. These corporations are everywhere, and it is often impossible or extremely inconvenient to not support them economically. What would we be able to do if just a couple of these people did the most morally reprehensible things possible? If they attacked values we all hold? Nothing. Because we have no choice but to support most of them. In modern society, we've effectively given all economic power to a ruthless group of rich elites that we, the commons, have little influence on. This has alienated many and is creating an ever-growing black, soulless expanse at the heart of society. A feeling of being tyrannized by a system you have extremely little control over. This feeling, along with disruptions to human nature modern social media creates, is responsible for many of the health crises across society. We can all understand this feeling. It is shared. It's because we have so little control over supporting our values anymore. All modern political philosophies must blame a group for this. We blame the group that has all the real power. They broadcast it loud and clear with their overdone mansions, their status symbols. The rich, along with the puppets who they use to keep power, those corrupted by them. These two groups are the elite. Part 2. Accountability for the elite. It is too easy for the heads of corporations to retreat into a world where they needn't interact with the commons. What they need is people they have to speak to, whose job is to represent the interests of the commons in their corporations. The elite has been allowed to go mad. Insane! They work on little pet projects that benefit nobody. They waste money on gaudy designer products to flaunt their wealth. They lie about the consequences of their own actions. They give federal judges private, all-expenses-paid trips in exchange for handing down their rulings. They, instead of increasing the salaries of their workers, whom they're forcing to pee in bottles during a shift, spend $500 million on a yacht to try and show off in front of their rich buddies. What they are doing is akin to what Putin has done to himself. Sat themselves in a room surrounded by yes men and brushed off the concerns of those working for them. In isolating CEOs within a world of other rich people and shareholders who are often too close to the head of a corporation themselves, they are allowed to ask for more and more and more money while sidelining the people who are breaking their backs working. A world where their haughty power is diminished and the commons may get to democratically imprint their values is far superior, not only as it will attack the sense of worthlessness we all share, but for our achievements we create, which happiness is derived from. Part 3. Benefits to business. Workplace democracy is not just something that helps the employees. It is something that will make the business thrive as well and increase the productivity of the populace. It will encourage all the good things in the business world as democracy does in governance, like constant changes in leadership for new ideas, and a more meritocratic system where only those who, like the workers, also know the ground floor operations of their company can succeed. A society where people are encouraged to treat their workers well will be a society of soul and vibrance. Now, the question arises, why don't the workers campaign for the things that benefit only them? Like simply emptying the corporation's vaults of cash and distributing it among the workers. The simple answer is that they have a stake in the corporation too. People in a business invest a lot into it, their time and body mainly. They spend this time in exchange for things like promotions, which give them benefits. They also get stable work, which helps them immensely. With half of the board, the group that's only interested in profits of the corporation will object to any egregious overstep. Adding workplace democracy will give employees a lot more incentive. People tend to like it when they feel like they have an influence on something that affects them. They enjoy it when they feel they are valued. By giving the employees real, binding representation within a company, they will work harder as they feel more invested in it. It will build a sense of community based on common objectives rather than oppression by a system they cannot influence. That does not have their interests at heart. There's also increased productivity of a workplace when it comes to CEOs not having to be paid as much. A board with voices in it that are made to represent the workers will of course equate to a reduction of CEO pay, thus meaning that money will be spent on better ventures, like improving the equipment of the company or giving the workers health benefits. Healthy employees will naturally be able to do their job with passion and productivity over employees with debt-ridden and sickly lives. Part 4. What can we do? Well, we also ought to implement measures in the economy supported by democratic government action. Even CEOs that gain their power from the workers' support are not perfect, they're not infallible. So another check on their power must be placed on them by the government. We also ought to mandate free government healthcare, even if we, as citizens, have to foot a part of the bill. I would encourage you all to tap into your human empathy and desire for a world where all have a right to life. Even without that, the current healthcare industry has made us pay more than any other developed country, and it is creating mass suffering for no reason other than the profit of some small minority. Corporations are often incorporated under the legal requirement for them to maximize the values of the shares in a company. This requirement means that if a shareholder does not believe they are focusing on maximizing profits for their shareholders above all else, they can sue the CEO. Obviously, this creates soulless, ruthless businesses that will cut their employees' salaries if it means one more extra penny. We ought to make it so such incorporation laws may never exist again. We ought to hold the leaders in our economy to a higher standard. If you are at the top, you do not earn your position once and then get to do whatever you want. Instead, you should have to continually prove your abilities. None should be invincible. By introducing the voice of the workers who can see all the problems of the business firsthand on the left, and shareholders who want to profit on the right, we make sure their power is checked, and only the truly most effective leaders can hold leadership.